Hello and welcome to Estuary TV News. Today it's our weekly paper review. But first, here's Dan Kemp with the news headlines.
Hello, in the headlines today, we hear about a conference to discuss the future of offshore wind energy in the Humber, and we find out all about some of the outstanding work being celebrated at the Immingham in Bloom Awards evening. But first, the Humber region has a skills gap that needs to be addressed, according to the chair of the Humber LEP Skills Board. Speaking at the launch of a double-header of new careers initiatives, Mike Parker was joined by the chair of the Education Select Committee, Beverley and Holderness MP Graham Stewart. The initiatives include creating a gold standard to set a benchmark for those providing careers advice, and the other is the launch of a website which will provide information on different industries for both students and employers.
I mean, every major industry and every major industry group that I talk to talks about skills, and what they refer to as the skills gap, as their biggest single challenge going forward. And as we if we're going to take advantage of the fantastic economic opportunities that are coming our way in this region, we've got to close that gap, and we've got to make sure that those opportunities are taken for the benefits of people in the area. Around a Siemens, around an Able, there are thousands of jobs in the supply chain, and they're very, very varied in terms of their nature. You know, they're not just about engineers. There's certainly an engineering skills gap, but they're about construction workers. They're about people servicing offshore wind farms, etc., etc.
A conference with leaders of foreign companies interested in the future of Humber offshore wind industry ended last week. Company heads came from countries such as Norway and Denmark to see and discuss the future of the Humber as the UK's energy estuary. The conference comes as Able UK are able to now start development of their huge marine energy park site at Killingham. Mark O'Reilly of the Team Humber Marine Alliance said the future was bright after many positive discussions at the conference.
So many outcomes. We had really good conversations yesterday, developing ideas and how we, particularly on health and safety, how we take that forward or in the industry, because it is potentially a dangerous industry as well. So lots of potential to make some new initiatives on that side of things. We've also got companies who are establishing good relationships now, and I think there's an opportunity for some to win some business, which is what we're all after in many ways.
Businesses in northern Lincolnshire can expect high-speed broadband very soon. That was the outcome of a conference held at the Baths entertainment venue in Scunthorpe last week. The conference showcased businesses which aim to make the most of better speeds and come amid a government push for faster broadband across the UK. Sean Brennan from North Lincolnshire Council outlined what businesses could expect from the conference.
The company's going to find out, A, when they're being upgraded to fast broadband. We increasingly realise that the internet and being online is essential to a modern business surviving and growing and exporting. But over and above that, we've also got a comprehensive, a fantastic package of business support that's available for free to those small and medium enterprises. And it's just putting some detail on what we can do in terms of offering a tailored package of support to our local businesses.
£2,000 worth of animal-shaped lanterns and carvings have been stolen. They were in a van on the East Park Avenue in Hull and were taken between 5:30 last Monday and 10 AM the following morning. The items were a variety of wooden and metal carvings and lanterns that were in a Citroën Berlingo van. Anyone with information is encouraged to contact Humberside Police. There were winners aplenty at the Immingham in Bloom Awards, with residents supporting the annual event. The community of Alderney Way picked up awards for their hard work in making their street pleasant, and Tammy Roberts of the Sea Cadets picked up the Citizen Award for outstanding work with the youngsters. Immingham has had an outstanding year, which has been unbelievable for the In Bloom, according to Chairman Stewart Swinburn.
Absolutely unbelievable. If you'd seen sort of standard that we was up against at Bristol from the other 72 categories throughout the country, actually, and you're talking about being up against Bristol, Bath, Linlithgow in Scotland, Henley-on-Thames, and we got the same award as Henley-on-Thames, and you'd never expect that from an industrial town place like Immingham, would you?
I mean, I think that people come to visit are quite amazed, and I had a lady came from North Thoresby and wrote to me to say she was just amazed how the town looked. And I think we do get knocked because people see us as a port, and we are the biggest port in the country, but we're also a township, and the people pull together, and I think most people who come think this isn't a bad place, and certainly people live here know it's not, And if we could just get the supermarket open, then it'll be even better.
And that's all for me for now. Goodbye.
Thank you, Dan. Now, today is the day we take a look at the headlines from across the regionals with our weekly newspaper review. Today, my guest is Martin Samuels, Estuary TV's own.
Thank you.
Hello, Martin.
Hi.
So, tell me what's caught your eye this week in the papers.
I think investment, first of all, I think we're going to go down that line.
It's been a real running theme, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think this one, I think we'll, together we can deliver a bright future.
That's an interesting one because it's obviously the whole Daily Mail calling for MPs and businesses alike really to join forces from the 4 regions, which is Hull, East Riding, North Lincolnshire and North East Lincolnshire. So they're all singing from the same hymn sheet when it comes to calling for investment. Do you think that's realistic?
I'd like to think so. Obviously they've all got their own areas to deal with, haven't they? But it's if they can all work together, and it'd be interesting to see if that can actually happen.
Well, there was a time when it was Humberside and it was all one, but that broke down.
You've got to be careful of that north-south divide, and if they can all work together, it will be a bright future, I believe, but that's for them to work together and keep a hold of it.
There is a lot of investment coming into the region, and there's arguments that really we're going to need to solve infrastructure problems to maintain that investment. Do you think really, particularly with transport links, that is something that people will have to work together on?
Oh, definitely. You've got to work together on something like that. You've got to have an end result, and if you keep that end result positive, and actually work to bring in people and business, it will be a bright future. Definitely.
There is an interesting paragraph about halfway down the page, where it says it does mean that Hull, as the regional city, will take the lead as stipulated by the government. So it's calling for people to work together, but it does want Hull to be the boss. By the sounds of things.
Again, north-south divide, got to try and keep focused, all work together, why Hull? But there we go.
How do you think that'll go down with authority leaders elsewhere? Because things are already a bit tense between them and the East Riding over this boundary reform.
Yeah, I don't know.
You think maybe that might be where it falls down?
Possibly so, I like to say, yeah. Yeah, possibly so.
You're not going to comment on that feud then?
Well, no, we'll wait and see the outcome, shall we, on that one?
Yeah, definitely, I think we'll have to. While we're on the subject of investment, actually, we've got here the Grimsby Telegraph. MPs throw out ABP's claim to land. That's to do with the Able UK development. Talk of 4,000 jobs,
Massive.
Hundreds of millions of pounds, and ABP had objected. And MPs, ahead of schedule last week, have come out and said we're rubbishing your objections, and the development's going to go ahead.
That can only be good, surely. Yeah. It can only be good. You're standing in the way now. Just look at the positive. Look at what it's going to bring to the area. And I think you've got to do it. You've got to head that way. You've got to look at what is there.
That sort of investment. You've got children. Do you think?
Yep.
Do you think that's as a parent? Does it reassure you about where we're going here?
I think if you look at the recession, this is all happening now. Again. It can only be positive, bringing people to the area, jobs. People coming to the area with children. They're going to need schools. It's investment. Shops. People want to go shopping. There's just so much to be had by such a big investment like that. So yeah, it's definitely on the up.
And as we're talking about investment, there's just more and more. All we're hearing really this week, it seems to be a lot of good news. We've got here in Scunthorpe, in the Scunthorpe Telegraph. There's the 6,000 homes in Lincolnshire Lakes plan, which is a little bit one step closer to reality, they say. And
if it's a mix with affordable housing, then again, it's got to be worth doing.
And when you're talking about future generations, obviously housing is a problem. Parents must be worried about how their kids are going to get on the housing ladder.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking back a few years ago, when I was sort of getting to that stage, looking at housing, you've got to. Parents do worry. You're going to naturally worry about where your children are going to live and where they're going to be brought up, but. More housing. Yeah,
but there is always that sort of compromise in that, do we want to fill all of our countryside with houses?
If it's done in a realistic area, it can be done. I think that's the problem.
And then literally just also Scunthorpe, they've just reopened. Well, I say reopened. They've just opened a brand new industrial complex with retailers. That's like Boots, Debenhams, Marks and Spencer.
Yeah, it doesn't seem that long since I was there actually filming them build it,
Yeah.
you know, in the early stages, and now it's set to bring more jobs into the area. Arguably, outskirts of Scunthorpe, is it taking business away from the centre?
Yeah, people in centres have complained about that.
Yeah, I mean, the small business owners, I can understand where they're coming from on it, you know, taking people on the outskirts, and it is a bit of a distance between the outskirts of Scunthorpe and the centre. Jobs,
You think that outweighs it?
I think you've got to look at it, haven't you, really? You've got to look at it carefully, really.
I mean, interestingly, because those complaints have been, you know, public knowledge of people from the town centre.
Yeah.
But the council, Liz Redfern, I know, has publicly said many a time that actually, okay, it might bring some business outside the town centre, but it might bring business from outside into Scunthorpe. And, you know, thinking in the bigger picture, you live in Barnetby, don't you? Which is pretty much bang smack in the middle between Scunthorpe and Grimsby.
It is, yeah.
Are you more likely to go into Scunthorpe now?
I would be more inclined to go to the outs, not necessarily into the centre, but because I mean the outskirts are developing, so it is developing really well on the outskirts, and you've got the big names going on the outskirts. And again, the thing is, if someone goes to the outskirts and they can get everything on the outskirts, why are they going to go in the centre?
Yeah.
So I think there needs something in the centre to help drive people in.
So, you know, it's not going to bring you into the centre, obviously, because it's not in the centre. But you might be more likely to spend your money in Scunthorpe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Well, we do.
Yeah.
we do go Scunthorpe shopping on the outskirts. So yeah.
Oh, maybe it's had the desired effect. Then.
No, maybe.
I'm going to move on now. I mean, what else have we got? Oh, Bridlington Free Press over there. I mean, their front page is interesting, and it's a teacher quizzed in a probe, and it's suspected over alleged breach of exam procedures, which I think in layman's terms is cheating.
Yeah, yeah.
But obviously we couldn't speculate as to what's actually gone on. Apparently a teacher from Headlands School has been suspended pending an investigation regarding an alleged breach of exam procedures. But that's pretty much all we know at the moment.
Yeah, I think you can look at it as how you will and what's gone on kind of thing, you know. But I mean, again, until it all comes out, you'll never know, will you? You never know exactly what's gone on.
I mean, you always hear that teachers are under a great deal of pressure. I mean, could it be a sign of that?
Well, I mean, not only have they got the normal teaching role, but at exam time, obviously workload goes up. And, you know, do they see children that are doing really well or not doing so well, and do they want to give them a helping hand in a certain way? You just don't know. I mean, if that's what it's about, then...
I mean, you think of 5 A-star to C and English and Maths, which is what schools are judged on.
Yeah.
You know, 1D is the difference between a teacher getting all the kudos for getting there and not, essentially.
Well, I mean, pressure. You know, it's a case of, you know, do we go that little bit further and help that little Johnny Smith go through or not?
And
I suppose.
I mean, really, is it beneficial to the child or not? That's the thing.
Well, you know, I mean, we've all got our own opinions on how we did at school and how we moved on from school, haven't we, really, and how we are in the big wide world. So I don't know. Interesting. We'll have to just keep an eye on that one, see what we're about.
And one more. I mean, we've been looking in Scunthorpe, slightly away from investment. We've got this chap here who's a doctor at Scunthorpe General Hospital, who moonlighted as an international equestrian commentator while claiming sick pay. So he was off sick and he was on TV. I mean,
when you're sick, off work, you don't
leave the house.
You don't leave the house. So
this guy's appeared on TV.
How he thought he's going to get away with it, actually presented on TV, I will never know. But there we go. You know, it's you can't be more in the public eye, can you? Really, if you're not very well.
Obviously, you know, he got the offer and just decided don't make a gift horse in the mouth.
Yeah, well, literally. Well, each to their own, but you know, it's a big public stage, isn't it? Really, he's not going to get missed, is he? On there.
No. Well, I'm afraid that's all we've got time for,
okay,
Martin, but
no problem.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
it's
you're
been
welcome.
Fun.
No problem.
That's the end of the show today, but don't forget that if you've got any news or stories you'd like to share with us, call us on 01472 31553. You can get in touch on social media, that's Facebook or Twitter, or you can email us, that's news@estuary.tv. Bye for now.